Good evening, Facebook Nation. Anthony Santangelo, your sales trainer and mentor for life, Automax Recruiting and Training. We got a little bit of a special live episode tonight that I'm really excited about, Facebook. I hope you guys can join and share this out. I've been really blessed in my career these last few years to be a team member, a national sales recruiter trainer for Automax Recruiting and Training. And I've really been able to have some success, and I haven't been able to have the success without the synergy of Automax. The total is greater than the sum of its individual parts. And a lot of good people have helped me. They've been patient with me. You guys know that, the main culprits, right? Craig Lockhart, Ernie Kaspowicz, Joe Lockhart, the owners of Automax, PM, operations director, partial owners, but also there's trainers as well. And then we have our executive in-house recruiters. We have Jane and Danielle and everybody. But, some of the senior trainers have really meant a lot to me that have mentored me. And they've been able to be there for me and really teach me what it means. And tonight I had the privilege and honor to interview my mentor, John Tracey, who has taught me these ways that have going to give me the success. And we're going to discuss tonight basically what it means the day in and day out of what it means to be a national sales recruiter and trainer traveling North America. What does all that mean? So bring your questions in here. The things we're going to talk about tonight are how do we mentally and physically prepare for a campaign? Managing expenses, because we're an independent contractor. Automax doesn't pay our expenses. We pay our expenses. Our thoughts about living in hotels 200 plus nights a year. The details of our sales training that goes way beyond the steps of the sale. What are the qualifications to join our Automax team? Because we are looking for affiliate trainers. So we will talk about that. And lastly here, how positively impacting the lives of others has changed my life and John's life as well in ways you can't even possibly imagine. So join with us, please, here and share this out. And without further ado, I'm going to bring on our senior national sales recruiter trainer for Automax, my mentor, my friend, Mr. Irish himself, John Tracey.
Anthony, thank you so much for that introduction. I do appreciate that. I've had a lot of fun in doing this over the last 15 years. So I take a lot of pride in what we do.
Yes, absolutely. And you're closing in, was it another month or two? 16 years is for you, right, John?
Coming up, it's 15. Next year will be 16 years at this. So I've had a lot of fun over the last 16 years.
Yes, just a little bit of fun, right? Just a little bit of fun. So let's share this out here. We got a nice little audience on here, so I'm going to share this out. So give me 1 second while I share this out here. John, if you want to share it out to your timeline, you know how to do that, right, buddy?
Oh, I'll figure it out here. I'm not as savvy as you are.
That's okay. All you have to do is go on your phone, hit the share button, and hit share it to your page. That's pretty easy.
All right, well, that should be easy enough. I think I can use that.
Yeah, the button that says share, and your name will come up, and you hit share, and it's right on your page. So that should be pretty easy. So Melissa Skinner's on here, which is awesome. Uncle Mike is on here. So we do have some support from our dear friends, and Melissa, my condolences about your dear loved one passing away today. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. I was texting with Melissa earlier this evening, so we're thinking about you, Melissa, and we're here for you. We really are on it. So we miss you too, Melissa. We very much do. Jesse Kidney's on here, and we got a nice little group on here tonight. We got some people on here to see the living legend John Tracey on it. So awesome. So John, why don't we let's give them a little background? So I know you're not always on camera. That's not your thing.
No, it's not at all.
But this was an amazing idea that you had when you called me yesterday, and I was just like, Don, this is so awesome. I feel so just inspired and so privileged to be able to interview my mentor here. I'm so excited. So why don't you just give them a little bit of background about yourself, just my audience here, since they don't necessarily know you.
I've been in the trenches with Automax for 15 years. Prior to that, I owned a used car lot down there in the state of Florida, and I've had a lot of fun in doing that, but the last 15 years has just been completely blessed. I love to travel. I get to go to unique places. I stay in nice places and stuff like that. But, I like to be the quiet one. Go in, go do the job, knock it out of the park, and, go from there. So No, me getting on Facebook and doing these live programs, it's just not me. I want to be the silent. I want to be the unknown person every once in a while. But what inspired me, Mike? What inspired me, Anthony, was yesterday during our trainer call and stuff like that. And Craig and Ernie, they're talking about, getting up to speed on the digital end of this. And, that's where I'm weak. And I understand that. But, I was sitting there and I was thinking of what I could turn around and do. An idea that we could come up with that would get us all together. And I said, what about a trainer versus trainer call? Some of the things that we do on a weekly basis preparing for a deal. A couple thoughts that came across to me that I thought nobody knows what we go through on a deal on a weekly basis other than you, me, and some of the other trainers out there. Nobody knows what we go through. We get an assignment. They think it's just, okay, go show up to the dealership and, we get an abundance of people. It's the behind the scenes that, with the appointments from Jane, from Kyle, to Joanna posting the ads, Joe posting the ads. It's all the things that are behind the scenes that make us look fantastic when we get there. We have good weeks. We have bad weeks. It is what it is. But, it's the behind the scenes that I think that get overlooked. And we're the ones who get all the credit while we're out there in the dealership. But it's the behind the scene people that do all the work for us. When we show up and we get our list of people that are supposed to be coming in on a daily basis along with the times. And there's just so much that goes into a transaction that nobody really knows what goes into a transaction other than the trainers. And that starts from the time that we get a contract signed, by the time we get the ads up, posted. There's just so much that goes in. It's just not okay. We look at the managers, and the managers, they have somebody come in, they take the resume, they put it off to the side, and they forget to follow up that person. And we follow up that person every time with phone calls, text, emails, and we're touching that customer, that potential candidate, 5, 6, 7, 8 times that we're talking to that person to try to make sure it is going to be a good fit for the dealership. And I think that's huge.
Absolutely. It's a team atmosphere, and we say it all the time at Automax. If one person doesn't do their role, then it's a fail.
Yeah.
Everything fails. I mean, Jane, Kyle, 7 days a week. It could be 10 o'clock at night, and they're responding when somebody applies. They're on top of it like that. For us, there's no backup quarterback on the road. If we're sick, if we're not feeling well, if our head's up our ass about something else, the baggage must be left at the curb, and we're there to take care of our dealer client first and foremost, and then positively impact the people's lives that we get in the car industry, or be teaching experienced sales and BDC people as well for their existing staffs. It's very important that way. So, John, when you talk about these things that we go through, you talked about getting an assignment. So sometimes Ernie will call us up, Joe will call us up, and they assign us things. Sometimes. Most of the time, we're booking your own deals, which you've drilled into my head very much, and I'm going to do my best John Tracey impersonation here, guys, and this is what John tells me. And I did this at our Automax event in November, right in front of everybody. Anthony, listen to me, Anthony. This is how it needs to be. You know me. I don't give a fuck. This has to be. Just that. And every time that John called me and talked to me, even before I met John face to face, he called me when I was in my first year at Automax, and I was struggling. And he'd call me and like this guy's gonna call you, and just listen to him. And it's like all I heard was like John Tracey's just like this awesome trainer. And he's like, really, don't disrespect everybody. I really feel you're the best of the best, John. And I'm not trying to slap anybody in the face on Automax. It's just, you're my mentor. You and Bobby have helped me so much. You guys help me in different type of ways. Bobby keeps me light on my feet and helps me relax. You hit the line and tell me the right things in your thick Irish Massachusetts accent way, with that, and just held me accountable that way. That I want you booking your deals, Anthony. This has to be. And I've finally been able to get that Kool-Aid and drink it, and now things are coming about. And I wouldn't have my success without you. I really want it. So when we go through that and we're booking deals, and you're doing that. You're in Massachusetts this week. You'll be in Florida next week. You go everywhere in North of America. I'll be in Canada next week, for a 2-week campaign. I'm in New York right now. All these things. What's the mental preparation when for you jump on Delta usually out of Logan is where you usually do. My preferred airline is Southwest out of Baltimore or Philly. All those different things. You're going through that as you leave, and you're packing your bags, you're doing your things. You have 3 wonderful sons, you have grandchildren as well. You do all these things. You got people calling you, asking you questions, and bugging you like me that have been, just leaning on you for the last 3 years, that type of thing. What is it that the transition between all the flight delays, the cancellations, the snow, all that bullshit, and then you walk in Monday morning at 9:00? How do you get prepared for that?
I think it all starts with, you said it earlier. There are no sick days in this business for us. If you get sick on the road, there's no backup quarterback. There's no relief. There's no nothing. So you got to push yourself through it. Me getting on Delta Airlines Sunday, like yourself, I wanted to watch the football, so I'm flying in so I can watch the football game at 1:00 with my son. So I'll fly in, watch the football game on Sun. But it's the research that you've got to do. You got to go research the area. You got to research the dealership. Go on the website. Look at how many cars that they're doing. I'm blessed to be going back to another dealership that I've done several times. So, I'll be down in South Florida, Coconut Creek. Yep. A good dealership of mine down there at Al Hendrickson. They sell 1,700 cars a month. I mean, the place is a machine. And, I'll see 100 people next week, for interviews. And it's finding that right person. It's finding the right person, the right connect that's going to mesh with the salespeople on the showroom floor. So we have a lot of work to do. Everybody just thinks that we sit there and we wait for the interviews to come in. I don't do that. That's not me. I'm going to the sales desk. I'm watching how they desk their deals, how they're working deals, so I can do the training based upon the way that they're doing their deals. So I know how to set up the training, whether it be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Thursday, Friday. I want to be able to do the training the way the dealership wants to do it. So, the mental preparation of watching the dealerships, watching the sales managers, watch how they TO, watch how they pencil the deals, and then watching how they close the deals. So I want to take all of that information over the course of, me interviewing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, watch the desk, know how the training is going to be done. So there's just not wait for people to show up and, interview them and not learn anything else. I think the key is getting to know how the dealership runs and, taking the time, we take the time. I'm not just looking at that resume when that person comes in. I take the time to get to know that person behind the resume, because they can put whatever they want on a resume, but I want to get to know the person. I've met some wonderful people over the last 15 years. And, and if I looked at that resume and let that resume dictate to me whether or not that person could do the job, I think by taking the time out to get to know the person, they wouldn't be there if they didn't want to sell a vehicle in the first place. They know the position that they're walking into. They're all there to provide a better lifestyle for themselves and their family. And, my dad always told me, go find a job that nobody else wants to do and be pretty good at it, and you can become successful. Well, who in their right mind, Anthony, wants to sell automobiles? Think about this, and the question that I ask everybody, when I start my class is, how did you get here? And, 100% of them say, well, I drove. Okay. Well, somebody got paid a commission at one point in time, for the vehicle that you're driving. So pretty good.
Absolutely. He said some great points that you have, and it's, one, obviously the travel side of things. Let's talk about that for a little bit. I don't know about you, John. I've actually never asked you this question before, but sometimes it takes 2-3 hours to book travel. I mean, I've gotten a little bit better at it, but you're trying to find the right things because, we're independent contractors. Yes, we represent Automax, but we don't have a W-2. So the government knows me as Santangelo's Training Services. Government knows you as your DBA as well. So we're paying our expenses, and we're not getting rich doing this, are we, John? We're not, and we're just impacting the lives of others with it. So, and during football season, when you have two huge sports fans, which you have on camera right now, with it, we do arrange our travel so we can watch our teams. Either we watch the teams before we drive out or fly out, or we fly out or drive out early enough to get cozy somewhere to watch our teams. We do. And I do that. I did it this past Sunday. I'm an Eagles fan and a Raiders fan. So obviously the Eagles were last Thursday, so I was good with that.
Yeah.
But Raiders were 1 o'clock. I watched the Raider game, and then I got in the vehicle and I drove to Long Island. With that. So the traffic was worse, and I knew that was going to happen, but I wanted to watch the game. I'm flying to Canada Sunday. I'm going to get there before the games start. So everything I can watch the games. Same thing for yourself. You're flying to Florida to spend time with one of your awesome sons, with that to watch the game. So what are some of the secrets that you have about managing expenses when it comes to airfare, rental cars, hotels that you can share?
Yeah, I'll start with the airfare. I think as you know, I fly a lot of Delta and stuff like that. So I try to fly as many nonstop flights as I possibly can. Yeah, but when we go to certain destinations, you can't help but get into delays and this and that and everything else. So if I can, I try to travel nonstop. The reason for the nonstop, there's no delays in between.
Right.
It doesn't always work like that. So we're looking for the cheapest flight, the most inexpensive flight. And usually we go. To be honest with you, Anthony, I never book a round trip ticket.
And you taught me that. You told me, Anthony, only one-way tickets. That's how you do it. That's what I do. I only book one-way tickets because you taught me that.
I like this Sunday, I haven't even booked my return flight coming back from Florida. So, right. I mean, I've got my flight going down Sunday morning, but I haven't even booked my return flight because you never know what's going to happen, whether you're going to stay on the road, this, that, whatever. Something's always going to happen. Yeah. And I learned that, probably my first 3 years with Automax that, well, John, you're close. You're in Missouri. I just need you to stay there. Just stay in the same rental car and just go. So yes. I only book one way at a time. Yes. And I'll fly down on Delta on Sunday, and I'll probably fly back on JetBlue. Okay. But I always book one way at a time because you just never know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I try to find the cheapest flight. I really do. I've flown down to Florida, Frontier Airlines, they got specials, $19, $29, $39, $49. I've gone down and back to Florida for less than $100. But you got to find the deals. Right. And I usually try to book on Tuesdays. I try to book the majority of my flights on a Tuesday. I never book on a weekend because it seems like the prices are always up on a weekend. So I stay away from the weekends. Tuesdays, Wednesday, is when I like to book my flights and stuff like that. As far as hotels, Steve Rapelia, he gave us a couple great ideas about the Airbnb. I'm platinum level on Priceline, so I get some pretty good discount. I get some pretty good discounts on Priceline, but going to the same stores, going to the same destinations all the time, you get a pretty good idea where you're going to stay. Right. And I've built up some good relationships to where I just pick up and call the hotel, and they know who I am. And again, it's just being a matter of the rewards that you get out there. So, but I use Priceline. They don't give you the reward points or anything like that, but I make it up on the monies. So it works out pretty good. I use one rental car company. That's all I use. One or two different rental car companies. Like this week, I think coming up for next week, I think I paid $124 for a week for my car. Tax tags out the door is probably $173. Yeah. So you got to watch your expenses. And everybody laughs at me when I tell them I can spend $40 for food for a week, and $40, $50 a week for food. You just got to do it right. But the travel expenses, you can't go out to eat every night. You can't go spend $40, $50 a night going out to eat every night. It just all that money, it just keeps adding up. You've got Dave Hoyer. You've got Dave Hoyer. I know Dave Charles with his cooler, and he makes his food for the whole week. And he puts it right in the back of his car. And these little tips and techniques that we've learned throughout the years from other trainers. But Dave Hoy is the best. He really is. He does pack his lunch, though, for the whole entire week. So it's just little things that we pick up from the other trainers. It's awesome. We have so many trainers that we can pick up on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, that we can pick up, call, get a little bit of advice. I was missing paperwork 3 weeks ago or something like that, and I picked up the phone, called Craig Nicholas. He emailed it right over to me. I changed our briefcase. I changed out my briefcase, and Craig Nicholas was nice enough just to email me it over. And it worked out great. But that's the help that we have. That's from the other trainers that we have, and I think it's awesome that we can do that. We rely on one another, giving little tips, techniques, and tricks on how to save money on the road, on how to do the campaign. There's just so much that we get from one another. It's just, it's awesome to belong to a nice network. So I have a lot of respect for the other guys too.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times, I mean, there's times that can go by where people have not met other people because they're all over the country. I mean, many of us got together in November at our Automax event that Craig put on for us in New Jersey. But there's still some people I haven't met. With it, it's just reality with it. But you help each other, and you're linked up, and you need this or need that with it. And also, it's important to know where you're at. There's a term in hockey: time, place, and score. Right. Well, it's also what area you're at. So, for example, like John talked about Delta and JetBlue. Delta and JetBlue are preferred airlines to fly out of Logan for Boston. There's no way in hell I'm flying out of JetBlue and Delta. I won't. I do Southwest 99% of the time. They don't fly to Canada, so I had to use American for next week. But 99% of the time I'm A-list with Southwest. I have a Southwest business credit card. So it all depends on what area you're in to understand that. Rental cars, they're very expensive. Very, very expensive.
Finally sign up for dollar rental? Did you finally sign up for dollar?
I did. I have a thing with Enterprise. I have an Enterprise code, and then I have my Orbitz account. So you like to use Priceline, which I use once in a blue moon. I use Priceline when I go to Massachusetts because I can't find a freaking hotel that's a decent price there. So I go to Priceline there, but Orbitz is what I use for my hotel. That we do. So it's all about trying to help each other with that. And these are some of the best practice we shared at our conference to help each other out. Because again, I mean, guys, we're not getting rich. And John said it about the food too. We're not going out to eat. John taught me early on, Anthony, you pack your food if you're driving. Pack your food. Stop going out to eat. You got to lose weight anyway, Santangelo. So So here's a perfect example right here. Okay. So I had some food in the room. So I had not gone out to eat all week. I brought food with me here to the hotel on it. So when I fly somewhere, it's a little different. I usually go out to eat a little bit here or there, but it's just necessary evil on it. But those things are important with it. So John, let's shift gears a little bit to the next question here. We talked about the importance of impacting lives and how the resume, we don't care about the resume. For myself, I look at sequential dates if they're employed or unemployed, which I don't care if they are or they're not, and if they served our country. That's all I care about for the resume. I look at the character of the person as you do. I've sat in your training classes. I've sat on interview. You sat in an interview with me when we were in Florida together. We've done those things. So what are the things that you look for, and how important is it to perfect the interview when it comes to recruiting? And what are some of the tips you can give to our dealer clients if they choose to do it on their own? What tips can we give them for that?
When we all first started, Craig gave us a basic interview to go by. And still to this day, I still use the same interview. I really do. We have a word association with all the list of words. You remember the list of words association? That is probably the only thing that I don't do. Craig probably is not going to like that I just said that, but I mean, I don't do that.
This is a judgment-free zone, Facebook Live, so we're good here. So there can't be any judgment on here, Craig. He's on here. So
I don't do the word association. I found that it makes people uneasy at times, and I don't want to make anybody feel uneasy. I really don't. As far as perfecting the interview, I go through the basic interview process. some standard, boring, generic questions, tell you a little bit about what kind of a sales associate, and finish it up with some personal type questions. I do those 3 basics, and however that interview takes place and goes from there, I just let it go. It can take anywhere from 10, 15, 20 minutes all the way up to 45 minutes, depending on how involved that we want to get to. But I think I let it go. However, I want the person to feel comfortable.
Yes.
And if I can get that person to feel comfortable with me, the organization, and get them excited about the position. As you know, I don't drink a lot of caffeine. I can't have a lot of caffeine. So I try to stay away from caffeine. Can you imagine me on caffeine? I'd be bouncing off the walls. So I bring a lot of excitement, when I interview these candidates. I really do. I bring a lot of excitement. I get them excited about the position, and I like to have a lot of fun. I really do. And if you can have fun and it breaks down barriers, I think if I can start getting somebody feel comfortable with me, if they can get comfortable with me, that means they're getting comfortable with the organization. And my job at that point is to simply sell them on the organization. And I can do a pretty good job at that. I have a lot of fun. I take a lot of pride in doing that. So it all starts with the interview, and I use the same interview process. I think, when me and you were together before, I told you to go back to the basics, go back to what Craig, and, however you split it up from there, if you go back to the basics, it works out pretty good. And however it takes place from there, they open up and they'll tell you their life story. People want to tell their story. Anthony, you know that. We all got a story. There isn't a car guy, car gal on this podcast, on Facebook, that doesn't have a story. We all got a story, claim to fame, glory to success, whatever it is. I don't need a pat on the back or anything like that. In this business, you have to be self-motivated. And I think that's the driving force. I told a good friend of mine, Rick Morrow, another fellow trainer of mine, he says, well, what are you looking for by doing all of this? And somebody asked me what I'm looking for in doing what we do. I'm looking for greatness, Anthony. And I know it's out there. I want to be the best that I can be. And I'm certainly sure that you want to be the best that you can be. And, we want to be the best. I'm not the type of guy that, I don't want to get on here, promote and brag about myself or anything like that. But you know what? I'm pretty good at what I do. I love what I do.
Absolutely.
When you find a job that you absolutely love to do, you never work a day in your life.
That's right. That's right.
And, what I do is, I get to go to dealerships, I get to travel, and I get to make a difference every day. So I wake up mad every day. And maybe and the reason I said the word mad is because I want to make a difference that day.
That's right.
And, so I use the terminology mad, make a difference for that day. I can only live one day at a time. I may be here today, gone tomorrow, whatever, fate has it, whatever's in store. My kids have always said, Dad, you're going to wind up, I don't even know what state you're in sometimes. I don't even tell them where I'm going. I just get up, get on a plane, and I go, and I know it's bad. The only people that know where I'm at is the Automax family. So if I don't check in or somebody sees me on a daily basis, they'll know where I'm at. But, that's bad on my behalf that I don't say anything. Or they'll look on Facebook and I take a picture or I check into the dealership that I'm at. That's the only way they know. I don't have my itinerary behind, for my boys to check. They're all grown anyways. I mean, they don't check with me. I don't check with them. So,
right.
It is what it is, but that's my end. So, I get some great kids. They drop me off. They pick me up, at the airport. They drive my car when I'm gone. I know that because I check. I check. My youngest is notorious for doing that. Dad's going to take the car the whole week or 2 weeks.
300 miles on my Cadillac. What's going on here?
And they do it too, Anthony. They really do. So, I've had a lot of fun listening to watching my kids and stuff like that.
Absolutely. You said it perfectly. Every car guy and car girl has a story. I had to do it. I had to do it.
I'm gonna, before I'll just I'll give you a thought, okay? So I just want to know who the Patriots are going to play in the Super Bowl this year. You know, I know Joe. I know Joe. He wants the Cleveland Browns. I just don't see it happening.
Right. I want the Raiders to beat the Patriots. That's not going to happen either. So we'll see if the Eagles can get there again, and whip your ass again. But we'll see. But I don't know. But I mean, Patriots are going to win this week. They're playing Little Sisters of the Poor. They're playing Washington this week. So that's going to be an easy win for you guys on it. So, but but John, you talk about all these different things, and about not knowing where we're at and all that, and those things are very, it can be scary at times. I know for myself, there's somebody that means the world to me, and I always let that person know where I'm staying, because you don't know if something happens. I mean, I had a little bit of a scare in Idaho a couple months ago, and I thought I was having a heart attack, and thank God I wasn't, and I'm fine. But I was just like, and I just put something on Facebook. I was like, well, can Facebook be next of kin? And actually, like Lisa Copeland, the president of our tribe, who I love so much, and you met Lisa. All of a sudden, she's blowing my phone up, and she's tagging everybody on it. And it's like, and everybody else is calling me. And then the next morning, Craig called me at 5 a.m. He's like, I'm flying someone else out. And I'm like, no, you're not. I have this. I'm good. I mean, it's just like all that stuff. But, it's important to let people know where you're at. But you have to call audibles at times, just like an audible to line of scrimmage for the quarterback if it's your precious Tom Brady, okay, or if it's Carson Wentz or Nick Foles or Derek Carr, whatever it may be. You have to call audibles, and that's one thing that I did not do when I sold cars. You have more experience than me as a trainer, John, but I was in the trench longer than you were as far as the car side. And I didn't know how to be flexible. I was very set in my ways, and it worked, but I would not change my play ever. And I'll just make it happen. I've changed that as a trainer. You've taught me that, John. Ernie's taught me that, to be flexible with that. And you call audibles, where we are going to cater our training and cater our methods to the needs of the dealer, to the culture of that area as far as the people. If we're in certain areas, like in Great Neck, New York, Mandarin is a very important language to speak. Mandarin Chinese in Great Necks. We look for people that are like that, whatever it may be. Or if it's Spanish. I'm going to have tomorrow here in West Lifestyle, I think 7 different languages represented and 4 different countries in class tomorrow. So we have the well-diverse, where we look for those things, look for the character, and also cater it. So if we have to spend a little bit more time to see if it's the right person, we're willing to do those things, which is important. And that kind of moves into my next question here, John, about the sales training side. I've sat in your training as well. You see what I do on Facebook Live and everything. We don't just do the steps of a sale. And I think a lot of times is people think, oh, you just teach the meet and greet and investigation, the demo drive. Okay, those things do come, but we dig deeper in training. And why don't you talk about the different things that we start with training with, John?
If they all think it's easy, we wouldn't be going to the dealerships in the first place. And I think that's what it all comes down to. So it's not just the meet and the greet, the demo drive, present the first numbers. It's all the meat and the potatoes in between. There's just so much out there. You have social media presence. You've got self-motivation. What are you doing to prepare yourself for a better day? Are you preparing yourself? What are you doing? Time management. I think these are one of the skills that I was never taught, going into a dealership. And I think time management, is probably one of the biggest things that I concentrate on inside of a dealership. Because, I can take an average salesperson at any dealership across the United States. They're going to work maybe 3.5, 4 hours on a daily basis. And the other 4 hours, they're messing around doing everything else other than selling a vehicle.
Right.
And I think time management in any dealership is the key to success if we can get the salespeople focused on working. If you go to work, give me an honest 15 minutes worth of work for every hour that you're on the showroom floor, and you'll be an above average salesperson. If you want to sit around and wait for that next customer to come inside the door and live off the door, it's not happening. That's how it was 20 years ago when I was 25 years ago when I was on the showroom floor. You could make a living off the door. You can't do it now. Right. You have to network, you have to prospect, and you're going to look ways to develop clients. And if you're not networking, prospecting, and developing clients and letting everybody know what you do for a living, it's branding yourself on what you do. And it takes, salespeople need to be their own BDC. They need to make phone calls on a daily basis. They need to try to set appointments on a daily basis. Don't just let BDC, be your paycheck and drive in. You need to make your calls yourself. I think it's huge. What are salespeople doing? Typically what happens is the only training that I'd say 50% of our dealerships that we do, the only training that they get is what we give them sometimes. And what they get off from getting their certification via online. But when's the last time a salesperson just went to, there are just so many trainer conferences out there, whether it be out there that they can attend for self-improvement. I didn't do a lot of self-improvement, Anthony, when I first got inside the automobile business. It wasn't too big. It was either sell 8 or you hit the road, So, you learn real quick on, how to turn around and take care of customers and build a network. But, there's just what are salespeople doing for self-improvement in this business? And do they get the training that they're looking for? And some dealerships, they don't do a lot of training. So, this week here, they want training. They wanted me to do the training. They wanted to make sure that, John, I need the road to the sale. I need to drive in the 10 steps to the sale and stuff like that. And I think it's just, it sets the foundation. We can turn these people over, and, some people may or may not like me for this next comment, but we can sell them on this business. We can train them on this business, and we can get them excited about this business. I can train them. I can't retain them. I just can't do it. I can't retain that salesperson. Now, if I was to stay there an extra week, instead of the typical 5-day campaigns that I normally do, because I got this dealer want me, this dealer. So I'm not able to stay at a lot of my dealerships for 2 weeks. Not that I don't want to, but I would love to stay at most dealerships for 2 weeks, because I know if I can stay at a dealership for that second week, I'll be able to retain the majority of the salespeople. The reason that most salespeople wind up leaving stores, Anthony, and I'm going to say this, is management. They don't, a good friend of mine always told me, if you are not willing to wrap your hands around these people, take them underneath your wing, it's not going to happen. We're going to lose some. And then the dealership winds up getting mad at us because they left, because management didn't turn around and take these people underneath their wing. I had a mentor in this business when I first started selling automobiles. God rest his soul, Roger Paul. I remember my brother in this business taught me a lot. But if the management doesn't embrace these people when we get through with them, they're setting them up to fail. And I mean, it's sad that I say that, but it happens from time to time.
Well, it goes back to the you hire him dead or kill him after you got him, which is our Tuesday show with it. So, and now when we're saying that, when John's mentioning that, we know management, it's very hard at what you're doing. We've done that. We've been managed before. We know you're working 2 deals at once. A third person is an appraisal. Behind him is the ASM looking for a $1,500 okay for used car sales check. One of the girls in the account is looking for clarification, put in the back end screen. And then that interview comes in. The interviewer's texting you how many deals you have, and you haven't had your CIT meeting. You have $500,000 out in the street. That's reality. And that's just before noon. And you're just waiting to eat your cheesesteak. And you're like, and then your receptionist comes up and says, hey, that interview's here. And you're just like, it's just, all you want to do is have a cheesesteak type of thing. That's reality. So we know it's hard what you do. It is. And John's not pitching our 10-day program and saying that, but I've seen it firsthand. John's seen it firsthand. The Belize Automotive Group is a perfect example. John does the ones in Cape Cod. I do the ones in West Springfield, Mass. We split it up. Another train does things from Providence. So you have all these different stores, different areas. With it, the 10-day program that they invest in, people are still there. They're still.
The retention is huge when you do that. You're going to be in Canada for the next 2 weeks. Yeah. The retention is going to be huge. Yeah. So it's the onboarding process that we can help them facilitate with. Are they introducing them to the people? at the dealership, or are they just saying, okay, here's a computer, here's your login information, go do your certification, and this is what happens. Go do your certification. When you get it all done, come back and see me, and I'll have you shadow another salesperson. That's, they're picking up their bad habits is what they're doing. And they're going to teach them everything what not to do because they don't want them there in the first place. And we've both seen it firsthand. And I hate to say that, but it does happen. It really does.
It really does, John. And for me, with my training, I focus more on mindset. You've seen what I do on camera, where I really harp on the difficulties. We share what we call our me stories. I've heard your me story. You've heard my me story. What brought us where we're at. And if we can do it through our faults, you can do it as well. And we go into details of that. I'll do it tomorrow. You'll do it tomorrow for your dealer client with those things. And you harp on when things are hard, don't you dare freaking quit. And when things are difficult, you pick up the phone and you dial. We have salespeople that reach out. I had a salesperson reach out to me in Nebraska today, asking me for advice on follow-up, type of thing. So, and I responded right away. I got back to her within 10 minutes. Type of thing. So, I don't charge her for that. I do that so she can support her and her husband and her 2 children. That's what it's about. You do that, and these things are so important. And it's Craig just put in here.
He did. I was going to mention
onboarding. When you're onboarding things that way, but it's also continuing to take care of them after the fact. And when we do that, the hiring process stays intact more, the retention's higher, and of course, that's what every dealer wants. They want people to stay because now they're building their own brand underneath the umbrella of the dealership, just like John builds his brand, I build my brand underneath the umbrella of Automax, and we do that, and people say, I want John Tracey. And that's why John has repeat after repeat after repeat. That's why he has the record for the most amount of weeks you possibly can work in a year, which is 47.
I tied Greg.
What's that?
I tied Greg. I need 1 more week to beat him.
But I mean, in reality, the other 5 weeks, I mean, it's just hard. Christmas week, they don't want us there.
No.
Unless they want to hire us as a manager to desk deals and structure deals, which I'm willing to do. I don't know if you're willing to do that, but I would do that and sit there and work deals and everything to go that route. Otherwise, I don't want us there. Thanksgiving week, forget about it. July 4th, forget about it. So there's 3 weeks and maybe New Year's Day. So 3 or 4 weeks you can't. So the most you can work is 48, for God's sake. That's how it is. I mean, type of thing. And it's not easy. You think, oh, you're only in the store from 9 to 5:30 or 9 to 5. No, the travel, the traffic jams, the flight delays, dinner for one was something that I struggle with. You go through those things, and then you get home, and it's like, and there's times I've called you on a Saturday, and you're like, Anthony, I'm in bed. I can't move. What do you want? You're exhausted. You're not moving. I mean, it's just, and that's your day of recovery. With that, there's times I get into my house. I've told Mama Jane this on the phone. I don't make it up the steps. I don't. I put my stuff down and I never make it up the steps. I end up passing out on the couch watching the DVR for Blue Bloods, my favorite show. And just everything. I mean, and that's what we do on it. So let's move into our last 2 questions here, John. And I really appreciate you taking the time to do this, my friend. I love you so much, buddy. What does it take to be an Automax trainer? So, Craig, before you hop off, Craig's got to go here. Craig, stay on this for a little bit, Craig. Hang tight for a second there. Tell Dixie you'll feed her in a couple minutes, the dog there. But what does it take for you're looking for, because you have an affiliate trainer underneath you,
yes, I do.
Affiliate trainers. What do you look for? What does it really take to be the next John Tracey?
I'm not looking for the next John Tracey. You can't. If you're looking for me,
there's only one John Tracey. What does it take to be an Automax trainer to get past the? Well, how about put it this way? What does it take to get past the Ernie test? How about that? Ernie's gonna kick my ass tomorrow for that one.
I think he is. When I first brought on, Lene. And Lene, she's done a great job since she's been on board. She really has. When I first brought on Lene, and I said, Lene, you need to do just like I've done to you. Lene, you need to do this. Yep. You don't, he's going to shut you down.
Right.
And she did. She did a great job. She even had, she sent me the video. She said, John, is this going to be acceptable? I said, Lene, you really need to put yourself out there. I need you to redo it. So I think she redid it once or twice or three times, and I said, "This is good enough to send." What are you going to bring to the table? It's finding that right person, the one that wants to work, the one that doesn't care about traveling.
Yeah.
I ask everybody, and I mean this in the nicest way. I ask everybody that wants to come on board, and I've had a few people ask me. And the first question I ask most guys: Are you married? Because if you're married, how's your wife feel about you being on the road 5 days?
Let me interrupt you for 1 second. For the record, though, when you're interviewing for positions in the dealership, you cannot ask that. Just for those that do interviews, dealership.
So I asked somebody that wants to be, and I asked Lene. I said, "Lene, are you married?" "No, but I'm dating someone." I just said, "Fine." I said, "You like you married? No problem." I said, "How's he feel about you traveling?" "He's okay with it." I said, "Good. You're going to be on the road for a while." So I think getting somebody that realizes that the road is not easy. Everybody thinks, the first year when I did this, traveling was a ball. I had fun. It was a ball, but I spent a shitload of money because I didn't watch my expenses.
Right.
I just thought it was time to go up. As the years went on, I started watching expenses. But in doing this, you got to watch your expenses from day one.
Yeah.
When Lene first come on, I said, "Lene, you need to sign up for this. You need to get a discount air card, the whole 9 yards." Craig Kinsley up there, boom.
Yes, he is up in Wisconsin. I know Craig. Yeah,
Craig, you know who he used to work for? And now that I see him on here, Doug Boomstall, as I was out there.
That's awesome.
I remember Craig does a great job, posts all the time. 2.5 years later, I'm a homeowner. Thanks again, John and Automax. Craig, my pleasure. It's a pleasure, bud. Hopefully, see you.
Automax right there. Automax. Yep.
That's Craig. And, a couple of years from now, you watch. He'll become a trainer. He really will. And that's the thanks that we get. We have so many guys that have come on that were Automax. They were trained by Automax that have come on board and been that are now trainers and stuff like that. I think that's awesome. I really do. It's tough. You're the ultimate road warrior. You've got to be. You've got to be the ultimate road warrior. And if you're not, it just doesn't seem to work out. If you're afraid to be away, you can't. My kids have got used to it after doing this 14, 15 years. My kids have gotten used to it. So, they're pretty self-reliant. And they're all grown anyways, Anthony. So my kids are all grown. So they don't care whether I'm here or I'm not. They're awesome. They come, like I said, they drop me off. They have fights. Who's going to come and pick me up at midnight, 1 o'clock? Who wants to drop me off first thing in the morning? So it's a lot of fun. But I put a video out there 4, 5, 6 years ago. I put a video out there, and I think you had made a comment on it on what it takes to be an Automax trainer. From getting up, going to the airport, from the airport going to your hotel room, unloading your clothes. Turning the shower on full stall to get the wrinkles out of your clothes and stuff. Unloading. I take every Thursday night to pack my clothes up, leave my clothes out for Friday morning because I know I'm going to work, and then I'm going to the airport. So, I've got a routine, and I haven't changed my routine. Every Thursday night, I'll pack my clothes. I think I'm just used to it. I get on the road. If I go on the road for 2 weeks, I bring clothes for 7 days. I don't mind doing my laundry on the road. So it's about saving time. I live out of a suitcase. You do too. So it's the things that we do.
It's very true. And I know you have your routine for Thursday night. You pack everything up. Because the last time I saw you when we were in Florida together doing campaigns, you're like, I can't hang out. I got to pack my stuff. I'm like, John, stop. When's the next time we're going to see each other? And we're going out and hanging out. Okay? You can pack Friday morning. Stop. All right. And I made you do that. Yeah.
I did. Anthony, I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to make sure it was done. I really did because I hate breaking my routine.
Unbelievable. Well, I got one more question for you, John. Oh, did we lose you? Oh, there you are. Okay.
No,
one more question as we wrap up here, John. Yeah. Obviously, we're in this business not for the money. And if you want to be a trainer and your first priority is money, and I get you have a family and that, then you're not coming aboard with us. You're not. Simple as that. You have to be willing to impact the lives of others, and it's about sacrificing and doing what's right. Okay. Many of us took pay cuts to do this, but it was time. The burdens were on our heart to give back to others. And that's what it's about. And that's very important. And we live that through the Augmandino principle. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet, friend or foe, loved one or stranger, as if they were to be dead at midnight. Extend each person, no matter how trivial the contact, all the care, kindness, and love you can muster, and do it with no thought of any reward. Your life will never be the same again. And Craig taught us that through Train the Trainer. It's Rule 10 in Augmandino's book, A Better Way to Live. That's what we're about. But John, let's wrap up here. And I'd like you to go a little deeper here. I know this is not your repertoire, and you can yell at me later, is how has Automax changed your life in the last 15 plus years?
The first thing, I went on I'll start going way back when I was first a trainer, and I was at a transaction, and I called the office, and Craig picked up the phone, and he was speaking to me, and he said, John, he looked right at me, and he said, don't make excuses. He says, find the solution in order to make the deal work. I don't care what you're going to do. Don't make excuses and find solutions. From that moment, and I'm going to go back, 12, 13 years ago, 14 years ago. And I think that hit home for me. I try to find the solution. I try to find the solution on every transaction that I'm not calling up the office where, it's me, I'm at the dealership. I'm the one who's going to take care of it. I'm not looking for somebody to bail me out. I'm just going to try to figure it out for myself. So I won't make excuses from this point forward. I try to find the solution. I make it work. And I know I have the office support behind me. I got Ernie, Joe, Craig, everybody inside the office, and they've all been great, and they treat me very well and allow me to do the things that I do. And I think, just being a trainer and being the best that I could, I thought this as a business when I first got into this. It's not a business. I don't treat this as a business. I get to take the time to make a difference in somebody's life. Take somebody that's used to making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on a monthly basis, and if they can make $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, and I'll take Craig Kinsley up there in Wisconsin. This guy was delivering pizza. He was delivering pizza. Nobody would give him a chance. He said, he looked right at me and he said, you know what? I just need somebody to give me a chance.
Yeah.
And I think, listen to that person. If you're, give somebody that chance. And if you can make a difference in that person's life, I think 2.5 years later, this guy's a homeowner now, and probably never even imagined that. It's the phone calls, it's the texts, it's the emails that we get, it's the pictures that I get. John sold my first car. John, here's a $7,000 paycheck. Text messages that I get from students of mine. After 15 years, I've got them all across the United States.
Yeah.
And I think that's the privilege that I get out of this. And doing that, just to see the emails, the texts, the little comments like Craig up there, Doug Stahl, giving this gentleman a chance. And Doug, didn't have to give him a chance because the guy asked for the job. And if you ask for the job, you're calling yourself. So, at the end of the week on every campaign, and I give my homework assignment and I leave him with 2 words. Okay. Why me?
Yeah, that's right.
You've seen me do it, Anthony. Why me? Why is it? What's going to separate you from everybody else?
Yeah.
What do you bring to the table? In one word, and if everybody could think about this, and in one word, what could you bring to the table as a trainer? We as trainers, and we all get egos the size of King Kong and stuff like that. But you know what? I can take, give me an average trainer and I'll make him great. Yeah. You give me somebody that wants to be great, and I'll make them awesome. I love what I do, and I think the passion, the excitement that I bring to week in, week out, is enough for me. I don't need to get onto Facebook and brag about it. Not to toot anybody or anything like that, but that's just not me. You know that as well as anybody else. It's just not me. I picked up the phone, called you, and said, you know what? What about trainer versus trainer? What are some of the things that I've helped you with that's gotten you where you're at right now? And that's the thanks that I get out of all of this, Anthony.
And you're
absolutely do well. I really do. I don't want to be in the spotlight or anything like that. I want to see people do well. And if I can do it from all behind the scenes, well, unfortunately, I don't think I'm behind the scenes anymore. You took care of that with this tonight, but thank you very much for that.
You're going to be getting all these friend requests now from people that follow me, which is going to be awesome on itself. But to go back to those 2 points as we wrap up here, John,
all right.
You talk about when you called the office, you're in your second, third year, and Craig said, listen, don't make excuses. There's another saying that Craig and Ernie both say, there's no hill for the hill climber.
Nope.
No hill for the hill climber. And they told me that my first year, and I never forgot that as well. You find a way to do it, you plow through. And you're right. The text messages that come in on Saturday nights when we're just trying to recover, you're relaxing with a beverage, I'm playing cards, whatever it may be, and they come in. John, I sold 3 cars today, made $1,400. Anthony, I sold 3 cars, made $1,200. Thank you so much for the opportunity. You have Craig Kingsley up in Wisconsin who follows me on Facebook because of you.
Yeah.
I have Kelly Stone in your home state of Massachusetts who was flipping pizzas as well, and she had a manager tell her one time she was too pretty to sell cars, and the girl was tearing up, and she's a tough girl. And I said, I got you. I'm going to get you in the car industry, young lady. And she's working for the Belize Group. She's number 3 in her store, and a year and a half in, she bought a house. And she's 22 years old. She didn't do it with daddy. She didn't do it with boyfriend, on her own.
All by herself.
They're the stories, and this is why we do what we do. If you want to join Automax, this is what your why needs to be. If not, bother reaching out to myself, to John, Greg, to Ernie, to Joe, because you're not coming aboard. Simple as that. This is why you have to be able to do this, to give back to others with no thought of any rewards.
Yeah.
And as Craig put it on here, we're not in the car industry. We're in the people changing business. We're in the changing of lives business. Yeah. And it goes back again to Av Mandino, a better way to live, and teaching people that way, which is remarkable. John, thank you so much for taking the time.
I just wanted to say thank you very much. I appreciate you doing this with me and stuff like that. So maybe more to come. So maybe we can do a little bit of this on a week.
You guys heard it. It's recorded. You heard it. More to come. John said it. I'm holding him freaking accountable for that right there.
When you get back from Canada, we'll do another one. I'm a man of my word. When you get back from Canada, we'll do another one. All right. But I want to thank you so much for having me on tonight. I really do.
John, I appreciate you so much. I know I've had some props recently with Automax, and I'm very thankful. But I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for Bobby Stevens. You guys helping me. You didn't take a portion of my transaction. You did it with no thought of any reward, and you helped me before you even met me. I didn't meet you till almost 2 years in. The first time about a year in, excuse me. About a year in the first time I met you. But you helped me on the phone. You'd call me. Even earlier in the year, you were calling me every Tuesday. What's going on? You got any deals? John, I'm working this. Okay, no excuses, Anthony. This is how it has to be. I want you booked your own.
I remember calling you every Tuesday, asking you that same question.
Yeah, and it's just you were holding me accountable. I'm like, John, I'm trying. Okay, don't try. Do or don't do. Let's go. Yeah, do that. And in that thick Massachusetts Irish accent, and all of a sudden, I've been being blessed with campaigns for I'm a month booked in advance. I actually had to. I gave Bobby a transaction next week because I was double booked. Type of thing. So these things where it's you do these things to give back, and I'm so appreciative of you, John, and I'm so grateful, and to have the honor to do this on camera. Just thank you. Thank you, my friend. You were so
have a great night. I'll call you at the end of the week to see how it finishes out. Okay.
Absolutely, you were the perfect example of what the right way to do business. As Craig said, you were a true professional, and as I would say, you were the true definition of what it means to be all in. And I thank you so much, John.
Thanks, Anthony. Have a great night, bud.
You too, buddy. Well, there you have it, Facebook Nation. A little bit of a special episode there with my mentor, or Automax senior trainer for Automax, John Tracey, who's amazing. That was just so much fun. Hopefully, you guys got some good nuggets of knowledge out of that right there. We were able to give some knowledge to the dealers, some knowledge to applicants, and just a little bit of the inside of what we go through sitting in hotel rooms as I am right now, with that. So I'm just so thankful on it. So go out there and take some of our advice, Facebook Nation, and impact the lives of others. Pick up a copy of Og Mandino, A Better Way to Live. Read the 17 principles, the 17 rules, if you will, the Dead at Midnight principle, and start applying it. Because I promise you, if you do that, your life will change, not just inside the walls of the dealership, but outside the walls of the dealership as well. And that's what we stand for. If we do what we do better than anyone else, someone finds a way to pay us. And we're not worried about the dollars and cents because we bring the goods. And it all starts from Craig to the newest member of Automax. Next month will be 22 years. I'm proud to wear this hat. I very much am. And I'm so thankful that this kid was given a chance. Start giving people a chance in your life because you know what? Other people want it. And they gave me a chance. And I'm so grateful. And I will never, ever forget it. We will talk soon. As always, Facebook Nation, go.